Hi, it's Shae, the official Orlando City reporter for MLSFemale, and this is the first preseason report of the year. So I'm going to be doing these videos before every game, probably after every game as well, to kind of recap and to go over what we're expecting in the games. So this is the first one for the Orlando City home opener against DC United on March 3rd. So this is the first game of the season, and if you've been following along, if you've been reading my articles on MLSFemale.com, there's been a lot of changes to the Orlando City roster. So neither team is going into this season as the same team that they went out of the 2017 season. So that's going to make for a very interesting matchup. But first, I want to go over who's in, who's out, and who's new to the Orlando City roster. So first of all, who's out? Goalkeeper Josh Saunders. We never saw him play, but he was one of our reserves. He was out of contract, as well as defender Seb Hines, defender Connor Donovan, defender Kevin Alston, and defender Devron Garcia. All of those guys were out of contract or their options weren't exercised. Different situations there, but they are no longer with us. We also have, that sounds so weird, no longer with us. They didn't die or anything. They're just not on our team. And I've been trying to pick up or keep up with it as well, and they have not been picked up by other teams. Now there's a few more defenders that we lost in the offseason. We traded Tommy Redding to the Red Bulls. We traded Rafael Ramos, my heart, to Chicago Fire. And we traded Jose Aja to Vancouver for allocation money. So yeah, that's the changes to the defense. To midfield, obviously we all know our captain, Ricardo Kaká, he retired at the end of last season, which was very emotional, very upsetting, but I'm so happy for him, and he's living like his best life right now. If you follow him on any social media or anything like that, you'll see that he's doing great. So congrats to him. It's just sad not having him on the team anymore. We lost Antonio Nocerino. He was out of contract, and as far as I know so far, he has not decided to go with another team. That might change. That might have already changed, but as I've been trying to keep up with it, that I haven't seen anything on that. Servando Carrasco, another midfielder, he was out of contract at the end of the 2017 season, and he was picked up by LA Galaxy, so you will now see him with the Galaxy. Forward Giles Barnes. Now, we know he's been with us for a while. He's made appearances in every game, but he was out of contract at the end of 2017. Orlando chose not to extend it or renew it, and he has been signed by the Club Lyon FC since then. So very best of luck to him. We always loved him. He always came in, saved us a little bit, but everyone's got to move on at some point, right? Haji Berry, he is now playing for USL. I believe that was an issue with the contract was expired, and he just got bumped down to get a little bit more playtime on USL, and hopefully he can come back up. We have Carlos Rivas was also traded to the Red Bulls. It was Rivas and Redding were traded to the Red Bulls for Sacha, and I will go over that in a little bit, but that was that trade. We also lost, there was a lot of controversy over this. We lost Kyle Larin in the offseason. He broke his contract. He's now in Turkey. There's a lot on that. You can also read that article on MLSFemale.com if you want to get caught up on that. But Kyle Larin, out of here. Not saying that I'm too upset about it, but there are going to be some fans that are upset about it. Okay, so who we kept, who you can still expect to see in that stadium. Maybe not exactly Saturday, but during this season. We have goalkeeper Joe Bendick. We're not getting rid of Joe anytime soon. I hope not, but he's still here to stay. We have goalkeeper Mason Stadwar. We have goalkeeper Earl Edwards Jr. We have defender Scott Sutter, defender Jonathan Spector, who was named our 2018 captain. I am so excited. Everyone who knows me knows Spector has been my favorite since we signed him. I'm so happy that he is wearing the captain band. That was my captain pick way back in 2017. Whenever Kaká was missing, I wish it would have been Spector, but it was always given to Johnson. No big deal. But he is the official, Jonathan Spector is our captain for 2018. I am so excited to be wearing the number 2 this year. I do have to get a new jersey because my jersey was for Rafael Ramos, who is now on Chicago Fire. So, womp womp, time to get a new jersey. Specs, you're probably getting it. We also kept Donnie Toya. We kept Victor PC, both defenders. We kept midfielder Will Johnson, midfielder Yoshimar Yotun. We kept midfielder Richie Larea, midfielder Pierre De Silva, midfielder Tony Rocha. We still have Christian Higuita. Now, there has been rumors that we are getting rid of him. I have not seen anything confirmed. He is still on the website as a team member, so I'm hoping we don't get rid of Higuita. He has so much potential. He is so young. He's so good. I really hope we keep him. We also kept Dom Dwyer. All right, for the new people, we have Adam Grinwis. Now, we signed him in the offseason, and as far as his background, I'm seeing that he came from St. Louis FC. I think he was out of contract and we picked him up because there was no news of trades or anything like that. We must have just signed him. We acquired RJ Allen from NYCFC, and I know a lot of NYCFC fans are pretty upset about that, but I'm pretty excited to see how he does with us, so we shall see. We have defender Mohamed El Munir. He's new. We have Amro Turek on loan. He is on loan. We have Lamine Sane. We have Dylan Powers. He was initially out of contract at the end of the 2017 season, and then we later re-signed him, so I still put him as an in for this season because he wasn't necessarily kept. He's been renegotiated and all that. We also acquired Sacha from New York Red Bulls, so he was their captain, and we made that trade over the offseason, and we traded Tommy Redding and Carlos Rivas for Sacha. So that'll be nice. It'll be good to have some experience on the field to help some of the younger players along, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes. We acquired midfielder Jose Villarreal from LA Galaxy. We signed midfielder Josue Coleman. Everyone is pretty excited about having him, so we'll see how he does this weekend as well. We acquired midfielder Cam Lindley from Chicago Fire. We acquired midfielder Justin Miram from Columbus Crew. And now I'm pretty excited about this Miram signing because he's given us a lot of problems in the past when we've played Columbus Crew. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how he does playing for us now. Like, can't beat him, join him kind of deal. Let's see how that goes. We signed Yuri Rosell. He is Sporting Kansas City, so I believe his contract expired. I'm not too sure that situation, but we signed him in the offseason, also a midfielder. We signed Stefano Pino from Miami FC. I recapped all these changes in an article on MLSFemale as well, so if you're lost, you totally lost me on the names, just go to the website, check out the article, and you'll see all the info on that. Stefano Pino was signed from Miami FC, who did just join the MLS, but they will not be in this season. Either way, last year when we played Miami in the Open Cup, Pino gave us a run for our money. He kind of handed us our butts on a plate. So, another situation, can't beat him, join him sort of deal. We had a good plan going in this offseason. All right, and our last signing so far, this could change in the next 3 days, is Chris Mueller. He was the 2018 Super Draft pick, so pretty excited to have another young one on there. He is the new Super Draft pick. Obviously, we used to have Kyle Lauren. Didn't work out so well, but hopefully this one works out better. We'll see. So we did a complete overhaul of the lineup this offseason, and right now the focus is on midfielders, so I'm guessing we're going to be playing more aggressively, more attacking. Of course, some of those midfielders might play more of defensive mids, but it's definitely a change in approach. We lost 7 defenders in the offseason and we signed 4, so that's the change there. We signed a lot more midfielders, and that's just how we focused at this time. We also lost 4 forwards and we only signed 2, so that gap, and we signed as many as we lost. So we lost 14, we signed 14. That gap is all midfielders, so pretty interesting to see how that's going to go this season. So as far as the Orlando versus DC United matchup, DC is not the same team as they were last year. They did not make as many roster changes as us, but they made some pretty big and important moves. They also just finished a 3-1 preseason, so not that preseason can be a total judge of how the season's going to go, but they did finish last in the conference last year. And to start this one with the preseason being 3-1, that's like a little scary if you ask me. Two important players to watch when we play them will be Maddox and Acosta. No news there, like those are always been players to watch for them, but that is our focus tomorrow. As far as the preseason games, they were playing a 4-1-4-1 formation, so that could be a little tricky, but again, we might be playing with like 6 forwards and 4 defenders, or we might be playing with like 6 midfielders and 4 defenders, so we might be able to take that on. No real decisions have been made on the Orlando City side, or nothing has been publicized on the Orlando City side on what our formation's going to be, who's playing, who's not. There's no final say on what our lineup is looking like on Saturday either. Obviously, we won't know until game day. However, I have heard, nothing, not confirmed, I have heard that Josue Coleman, Yuri Rosell, Dom Dwyer, and Dylan Powers are unavailable to play on Saturday, which will affect our lineup. Lamine Sané might also be on that list. I know Dwyer had a thigh injury last week or the week before in preseason, so he may play. They have not ruled him out completely, but they also might want to hold back with him, maybe just put him in as a sub at the end of the second half, just so that we don't make any injuries worse, because obviously it would be very detrimental to hurt our primary attacking forward so early on in the season. So no word on that yet. However, I'm gonna go ahead and do my assumed lineup for Saturday's home opener against DC United. Obviously, Joe Bendick in goal. I'm thinking we will have RJ Allen, Jonathan Spector, Scott Sutter, and Donnie Toya starting on our defensive line. This is assuming a 4-4-2 formation. For midfield, I'm assuming we will have Will Johnson, Yoshimir Yotun, Sacha, and let's say Justin Miram as the starters, but we might start Cam Lindley. I'm not saying for sure. My decision, my final decision is Will Johnson, Yoshimir Yotun, Sacha, and Justin Miram. Now, if I'm right, that'll be pretty crazy, but if I'm not, I mean, nobody can predict the future, right? Except Christ obviously knows. But, all right, for our forwards, I'm going to say that we put in, it's tough without Dom. Obviously we only have 2 more. We're going to put in Pino and Mueller, unless Dom is cleared to play. I would say if Dom is cleared to play, it'll be Dom and Mueller. If Dom is not clear to play, it's going to be Pino and Mueller, which will be really interesting to see how the 2 newbies do. Obviously, I'm not saying we should throw the first game, but I think the first game is the easiest one for us to play around, do some subs. We don't have to have a lineup locked in for this first game. I think we can have a little bit of flexibility and fun with the first game, because really the first couple games aren't going to predict the future. Like, wherever your standings are in the first month of play really is not going to determine if you're going to playoffs or not. So I think if we're going to play around, if we're going to experiment, it should be in this window of first games so that we get a solid lineup locked in before we get to like mid-season and injuries and wear and tear starts happening. I would like to just get all of our experimentation out there now rather than experiment later when we have no choice, if that makes sense. So overall, that's my recap on the lineup changes, on who I think is going to start for us. As far as the game itself, I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem with it. Obviously, it's a whole new team. No one really knows how any of these guys are going to play together. Nothing is the same as last season or the season before it. It's a completely different setup. So it's gonna be a tough call. Like, I can't call it right now, but I do think we are going to be good at this. I do think this is going to be a good game. We're going to have a good time. I think because it's a home game, it's a little bit more to our advantage. I do think we're going to pull this one off as a victory, and I'm not saying by too much. I don't know. I don't know how these new guys play, but I'm assuming it won't be too drastic. Like, it's not going to be a 6-0 kind of win. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think that with the power of the wall behind Orlando City, we're going to pull this ahead, because I don't think DC United is prepared to face that noise coming down from the wall. It's going to be very intimidating. It's the first game of the season. All that support. We got a whole lineup of brand new, excited players. So I think it's going to be that momentum that pushes us through this first game. So let's see how it goes, and I will see you back here on Sunday for a post game. Hopefully Sunday, maybe Monday, depends on how fast I can get everything worked out and edited. But thank you so much. That's all for today. So be sure to leave a comment below if you have any comments on the roster changes for Orlando City this season. And be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more coverage from me on Orlando City soccer all season long. Be sure to check us out on MLSFemale.com and on all social medias at MLSFemale. Vamos Orlando!